Reading the Railway Series, Part 22. Small Railway Engines. It's getting to the point where you can tell which ones I've opened the most because the ones that I haven't are really stiff. Dear friends, some lead mines up in the hills have long been closed, but their waste heaps still spoil a lovely valley. The Fat Controller has found that the waste is good for weed-killing railway ballast. He talked to the owner and the thin controller of the Skarloey Railway and other important people. They went shares and built a small railway to fetch it away. The small engines are managed by a controller. They call him the small controller, but that is only fun. He is bigger than any of the others. The author. The author gratefully acknowledges the help given by the fellow members of the Ravenglass and Elkdale Railway Preservation Society in preparation of this book. Story 1. Ballast. The Fat Controller's railway has a new look. From end to end, they are clearing old ballast from the tracks and packing the sleepers with fresh stones. The gangers are pleased. Weeds don't grow in it, they say, and even James has stopped grumbling about dirty sidings. Donald and Douglas disappeared regularly behind the big station along a line on which none of the others had ever gone. They returned with loaded ballast trains and were most mysterious about it. "There are wee engines that bring the ballast down from the hills," they would say. Soon the engines could talk of nothing else. James and Henry thought of the very wee engines. Must be some kind of magic. "I don't believe it," said Gordon. "Donald and Douglas have pulled our wheels before. They're doing it again." But Duck wanted to see for himself, so he asked permission to take some trucks. When he arrived, he was told to push them under the chute. This was like a tunnel made of steel girders. On top of it stood some queer-looking trucks. "What d'you think of our chute?" said a voice. "Good, isn't it?" Duck blinked. Standing beside him was a small green engine. "Where did you spring from?" asked Duck. "I've been here the whole time," smiled the small engine. "I'm Rex. And you, I'm sure, are Duck?" How did you know?" "Oh, that's easy. There's only one Great Western engine in these parts." There was a sudden rattling and roaring. Duck's whole train shuddered. "What was that?" he asked, startled. "That was our chute. The bottoms of those wagons slide out, and our stones fall through the chute and into your trucks. We may be small, but we're quite efficient." Duck puffed away, much impressed. The next time he came, there were 3 small engines. Rex introduced Duck to Bert and Mike. "As you can see," he went on, "the small controller's given us different coats." "Silly nonsense," grumbled Mike. "I like being blue," protested Bert. "It's all right for you," fumed Mike, "but not for me. Passengers say I look like a pillar box." "Shocking," said Rex, and winked at Duck. "Consider my feelings when we were both green, and passengers kept calling me Mike." You, spluttered Mike. "Oh, stow it, you two," said Bert. "Duck," he went on, "have you seen our coaches?" Before we see the coaches, very early on, we have our cover image, and for once, I actually think I really like it. I couldn't think of a better image. Where are they?" asked Duck. "Over there," said Bert. "But they're they're not like ours," he finished lamely. Rex smiled. "I agree. They are like trucks, but they behave surprisingly well.
Says you,
put in Mike rudely. They're all right, said Bert, if you treat 'em right. Besides, passengers like 'em. They won't use cupboards on a fine day. It's the scenery, trees, mountains, and such. You can't understand. I can't understand it myself, but then, passengers are queer.
You're right there, said Mike. Give me goods trains every time.
Do you like trucks? Duck was surprised.
Not all of them, smiled Mike, but our big ballast hoppers are different. They run on bogies as sweetly as any coach. We take them to the old mines, fill them up, and then run them down here to the chute. The men pull some levers, and the whole lot's unloaded before you can say small controller. No trouble at all.
How about hot axle boxes? Put in Rex.
We soon cured that nonsense.
You mean the small controller did?
Same thing,
grinned Mike. Duck chuckled delightfully. Rex and Mike loved teasing each other. I can't understand, said Duck, why I've only heard of you before. The small engines each answered at once.
We've only just come from our railway in England, which closed.
Your fat controller asked us to come and fetch ballast for him. And he said he'd bring us plenty of passengers, too. Haven't you had any passengers before? Asked Duck. Only in England. It's our first season here. Oh, promised Duck. Then I'll bring you lots. Goodbye, goodbye. And he puffed excitedly away to see. About it. That does not make sense, but okay. Story 2. Tit for tat. The engines were being cleaned and polished for the day. Bert, who was going out first, had a tall chimney in his funnel to draw up his fire.
We've got visitors today, said his driver.
Rex yawned.
We have them every day. We have them every day, grunted Mike.
But these are special, said the driver. One takes moving pictures, and the other writes books. So, mind you all behave. But I don't want to be a moving picture in a book, said Bert. I want to stay as I am. They all tried to explain, but Bert was muddled. But Bert was still muddled when he went to take his train. The visitors were clergymen, one fat and the other thin. They arrived in a little car. Both had cameras. They shook hands with Bert's driver. The small controller, he told them, says you can ride with me in Bert's tender if you like.
Thank you, they said. May we come later, please? For now, the sun is shining on that. The sun is shining so nicely that we want to take a photograph.
Then they asked Bert his name and told him just how smart he looked. These visitors, he thought, do at least know how to speak to engines. And he puffed away, feeling much happier. Whenever the line came near the road, level crossings, bridges, stations, there the two clergymen were, squinting into their cameras. Bert found this rather upsetting. They might wave at an engine, he complained. They can't wave and get good pictures, said his driver, but Bert didn't understand. He thought they were being unfriendly. Burp, burp. The little car shot past them once more, but Bert made no reply. They'll be at the lane next. The lane is a side road. It runs for a short distance alongside the railway. There is no fence. It had rained hard in the night. There were puddles in the lane. The thin clergyman sat in the car. The fat one waited with his camera. He took his pictures, jumped in, and off they went, racing the train to the lane's end. Unluckily, just as they passed Bert, they went through a puddle. Muddy water splashed over Bert's boiler. "Oosh!" said Bert, but the clergyman didn't know. They were ahead and out of the car. Smiling, they waited for Bert to catch up. Bert wasn't smiling. "They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose," he snorted crossly. "They splashed me! They splashed me!" Bert hissed, rolling into the last station. "Pictures indeed," he grumbled, running round his train. "I'm a nice picture covered in mud." He sizzled crossly when the fat clergyman sat in his tender for the journey back. "Driver oughtn't allow him after what he's done." Suddenly he stopped sizzling and let off steam. Whoosh! "Oh, I know," he thought, "just how to pay the fat one out. It's a lovely plan. I only wish the thin one was here too," he said. But he said it to himself. Bert ran nicely until they reached the woods. The line climbed steeply here. Bert usually rushes the hill. This time he deliberately dawdled. "Come on," said his driver, giving him full steam. This was just what Bert wanted. "Tit for tat," he shouted, storming up the slope. Rain-soaked branches met close overhead. Bert's blast, shooting straight up, shook them wildly. Showers of water fell on the clergyman and his driver. Their soaking did not stop until they had topped the rise, and steam could be reduced for the downward run. The small controller soon found out what had happened. He sent Bert back to the shed. "You are a very naughty engine," he said sternly. "I will not have rudeness to visitors." "They splashed me," faltered Bert. "That's no excuse. I am ashamed of you." Bert went sadly away. But he was happy again when Rex and Mike came in. "Those visitors are nice," he told them. "They came and said sorry. I'm sorry, too. They cleaned me like the driver does. They know a lot about engines," he went on. "The thin one's writing a book about me. The thin one's writing about me in a book. He'd promised he'd write about you, too. Think of that." I wonder what book that is. I'll have to go look for it. Story 3. Mike's Whistle. One morning when he arrived, Duck's whistle was out of order. They had worked late the night before, and his driver and fireman had been using it to boil eggs for their supper. But something had gone wrong, and the next morning when he wanted to whistle, Duck found that he could only make burpling noises. He was upset about it. "Never mind," said his driver. It must be a bit of that egg which broke. We'll clean it out presently when we get the time. Meanwhile, no one will mind." But Mike made rude remarks about it.
"Swamp, swamp," mimicked Mike. "It's shocking. If engines can't whistle properly, they shouldn't try."
"Then why do you?" asked Bert.
"Why do I what?"
"Try to whistle, of course."
"Oh, shut up. You're jealous."
Mike was proud of his shrill whistle.
"Mine's better than yours anyway."
"Listen, Mike," said Rex. "If I had a whistle like yours, do you know what I'd do?" He paused impressively. "I'd lose it."
"The idea!" spluttered Mike. "Whistles are important. Let me tell you, engines without whistles aren't proper engines at all."
Mike went redder than ever with fury. His steam... Wait, no. No, that's okay. That's the next page. Yeah. Mike went redder than ever with fury. His steam pressure went up, and suddenly his safety valve blew off. Whoosh! "Hello," said his driver. "Are you ready?" "As you're ready first, you'd better take the passenger."
"What? And leave my goods?"
"Yes, Bert can do that. We can't have you blowing off in here. Come on." Mike backed down on the coaches. whooshing angrily. Then, when all was ready, he started off with a rude jerk. Come on, he puffed. What's bitten him? Wondered his driver. He doesn't like coaches, but he's never been as bad as this. Mike whistled loudly at the least excuse. They're jealous, he muttered as he bucketed along. I'll show him. He's in a flaming temper about something, remarked his driver. He was relieved when they reached the end station safely. He looked Mike all over, but saw nothing wrong. He tried to soothe him, but Mike still sizzled crossly. It beats me, he said at last. Then, soon after they had started back, he heard a thin, persistent tinkle. That's something loose on the boiler, he thought. I'll tighten it at the next station. But he never got the chance. It really was the cow's fault. She stood on the track, busily cropping grass. She took no notice of the train. Mike stopped. He wasn't frightened. He had met her before. She only made him cross. He came forward, whooshing steam from his cylinders. Shoosh! Shoosh! Shush! The cow just flicked her tail and went on kneading. Mike felt exasperated. He tried whistling. He wanted to say, Get out of my way, you stupid animal! But he didn't get far. His second peep turned into a tremendous whoosh, and his whistle cap shot up like a rocket and landed in a field. The driver and guard started to look for it, but some passengers objected. We can't waste time with whistles, they said. We must catch our train. Mike was dismayed. There are boards saying whistle, he protested. I mustn't pass those without whistling. That's orders. Please find it. Sorry, said the passengers. We can't wait. We'll have to whistle for you, that's all. And so it was arranged. Whenever they saw a board, guard, driver, and passengers all whistled. They made more noise than Mike ever did and thought it splendid fun. Mike mourned for his lost whistle. Mike hoped his driver would give him a new whistle when they got home, but he was disappointed. I've no spare whistles, said the small controller sternly, so you'll have to wait. It serves you right for being such a crosspatch. Mike worked in the quarries for the rest of the day. It was nearly dark when he reached the shed. What's that? Asked Bert as Mike came in. Shush, whispered Rex. Take no notice. It's an improper engine. Why's he improper? He looks all right to me. It's got no whistle. Oh dear, said Bert. How shocking. We don't approve of that sort, do we? Story 4. Useful Railway. Mike had had trouble with some sheep. He grumbled about them dreadfully. They're silly, said Rex, but they're useful. What? Farmers, went on Rex, sell their wool. What's that? People make clothes from wool. You know, things they wear instead of paint. Quite right, Rex. The engines were startled. The small controller stood in the doorway. The farmers, he went on, want us to take their wool to market. If we do it, well, they'll know we're really useful, so you must all do your best. But I don't understand, sir, Bert protested. We can't drive sheep down the line. They wouldn't go straight. Silly, said Rex. We don't drive sheep. We take their wool. In bales on trucks. It'll be easy. The small controller laughed. Very well, Rex, he said. You seem to know all about it, so you shall take the first train. They started loading at the lane. Then Rex came gently down the line, stopping at all the farms and level crossings on the way. Nearly finished, said his driver at last. Only one more load and we're away. But he had reckoned without Willie. Willie was late. He had been dawdling. Rex's whistle roused him. and he set off at top speed. "Your load's slipping!" someone shouted. "Oh dear," thought Willie. "I can't stop now. I hope it'll hold." It did, but not quite long enough. Willie dashed into the yard, swept around to bring his trailer alongside the line. The trailer tilted, the strain loosened the ropes, and the topmost wool bales slid sideways onto the track. "Crumbs!" burst out Willie. "Oh, that's torn it. I must warn Rex." And he jumped down and ran along the line. Rex's trucks were running nicely. "I'd said it was easy. I'd said it was easy," he chanted happily to himself. Then everything happened at once. Willie waved and shouted. Behind Willie, through the bridge, Rex glimpsed the bales lying on the track. "Stop! Stop! Stop!" he whistled. On, surged the stupid trucks. But Rex's brakes checked them. "Oh!" he groaned, and shut his eyes. His front hit something soft. He tilted sideways and found himself leaning against the cutting side when his driver felt him all over. While his driver was feeling him all over to see if he was hurt. Good. When the small controller came, Willie said he was very sorry, and, with his master's permission, he stayed and worked very hard clearing the mess. They put the trucks to rights, and Bert lost no time in taking them away. But Rex had to stay where he was. He didn't like that a bit. Trains kept passing, and passengers would point to him and say, "Ooh, look, there's been an accident." Mike and Bert would laugh and remark how easy it was to pull wool trains. Poor Rex. They lifted Rex to the rails, and at last Bert and Mike helped him home. The accident served me right for being swanky." "No," said Bert, "it wasn't your fault at all." "Sorry we laughed." This came from Mike, of all people. The small controller was waiting. "I'm proud of you all," he said. "Thanks to Rex, the accident did little harm. Bert and Mike worked like heroes, and all our customers admire the way we managed. They thought we were a toy railway, but now they say we're really useful. They promised us plenty more work when wool traffic is done." If you've enjoyed these stories, you will also enjoy a visit to the Ravenglass and Elkdale Railway in Cumberland. But I think that's a good note to end our stories on. That was Small Railway Engines. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.